Hello, and welcome to the Lapis Guides Introduction to QGIS tutorials. Module 4 is all about satellite imagery, and in this tutorial, we're going to learn one of the locations where we can access satellite imagery for free. So the first thing that I want you to do is go to the link, it's in the description, to access the Copernicus Open Access Hub. This will give you access to the Sentinel satellites, satellites 1, 2, and 3, although generally we're only going to be using imagery from satellite 2. But yeah, you just need to register a new account, and then I'll show you how to work with it inside of QGIS. Great, now that you've done that, the first thing that we need to do is we need to make sure we have the correct plugin. So we'll go up to the plugins. I want you to download the semi-automatic classification plugin. You should end up with this toolbar right here. And if you don't see that, you can always go to View, Toolbars, and make sure that these two are turned on, SCP Working Toolbar and SCP Edit Toolbar. All right, the next thing that we need to do is we need to turn on some sort of OpenStreetMap or open source map of some kind. And I'm just going to go with the simple one and zoom in on a location. Right. I'm going to be using a location in Kyrgyzstan. So if you zoom into the same area, you'll be able to follow along. I've already downloaded some satellite imagery that you can just download from the link in the description so that you don't have to wait for your program to do all of this and so that you can follow along exactly with what I'm doing. But feel free to get some of the satellite imagery for your location. So the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to click this button, Semi-Automatic Classification Plugin. This will open up a window where it will give us a whole bunch of things to work with. All right. We want to download a new product. Right. First thing we need to do is we need to input our credentials. Right. We signed up for the free access. We need a username and a password. All right. So make sure that that is in there. Check your remember box. And then we'll go to search. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we've selected Sentinel 2 under the products. And the reason why we put this open source map underneath is so that we can choose a range on the map. If we don't already know our upper limits, our upper left and lower right limits in latitude and longitude, it's going to make it challenging to just type something in there. So we're going to click on this, and it is a left click, right click, and that will choose an area. All right, and you're going to see that updated here in our latitude and longitude extents. Right, we want to choose an appropriate date. So I want something recent. So I'm going to go with July 1st of 2018 until August 31st of 2018. Right, obviously having 100% cloud cover would be ridiculous. It won't help you with your satellite imagery at all because you won't be able to see anything. So we want to lower this. Generally, I don't really want anything greater than 10. Right, and you can choose to have a whole bunch of results or less. Depending on the number that you put here, it's going to take longer to search. Right, but then we click Find. You can see on your main page, it says executing, searching, and sometimes you might get this not responding thing as well. That happens a lot, but generally just wait it out and things will be fine. All right, so that may have taken a little bit, but here we have our results. Okay, and we can click on one of these. It'll show what that looks like. We can display a preview on our map. All right, so we can see that that's approximately where it's going to end up. I want to make sure that I have the capital city in one of my images, and so this one works really well. And I also want to have another image down here I want to have these mountains fully represented. Right, so having these two together will work really well for me. And as I say, I've already got these downloaded and in a zip file that you can download with the correct bands. And what do I mean by bands? So satellites don't just take one beautiful picture that gives you all the colors, etc., etc. Right? They take multiple images using different sensors that provide different bands. All right, so we've got actually 12 bands on the Sentinel-2 satellite. And for a natural color image, right, a red, green, blue image that we would be used to, we actually only need 3 of these bands. Right? Other bands are useful for other things, which we'll actually learn how to use later. But the main thing to remember here is we don't need to download all of these bands to be able to get a color image of an area. We only need to download 3 of those. So if you are doing this yourself in a different location, what I would recommend doing is go to Download Options, and for Sentinel-2 bands, unselect all the rest of these except for 2, 3, and 4. Because at this point, they are not needed. Okay. All right, and you can click the Run button, and that will download those bands, and it will automatically load them in QGIS, but that will take quite a while because these are very large files. All right, so I've loaded those. I've loaded those files that I've downloaded into QGIS. And as you can see, I've got a whole bunch of different files here. Right, bands 2, 3, and 4 for each of the images. Right, for this section here, and then for this section here, because they're 2 separate files or 2 separate locations. Now, right now, you can see that they are grayscale. Right? And that's, remember, we talked about the bands and we have them all together, but we have not asked QGIS to merge them together to create a color image. But right now it's got them separated into their different pieces, and that's a grayscale image as a result. In the next tutorial, we're going to learn how to take these images and merge them together so that we don't have a band 2 for region 1 and a band 2 for region 2, but we just have one band 2 file for the entire location. In the tutorial after that, we're going to learn how to turn this into a color image, right? So merging these bands all together in a way that gives us color. And then in the last tutorial in this module, we're going to learn how to clip a raster so that we don't have to have this enormous huge file. We can instead just have a smaller location of the mountains or the city, right? And that saves a lot of space on the computer. So hopefully this tutorial allowed you to understand a little bit more about satellite imagery, where you can get it, how you can download it. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next tutorial.